you. Well, so hello everybody and welcome to the Kickstarter Grants Workshop. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Rachel Street and I'm the program lead for this initiative, which we're able to offer thanks to the support of the Heising Simons Foundation. The goal of the workshop is to give everybody more information about the program, provide you the opportunity to ask questions, and especially to help everybody to get involved and kickstart some collaborative work, which we hope will lead to proposals. I want to extend a particular welcome to those of you who are not Science Collaboration members and may be new to Rubin. We're delighted to have you with us, so welcome. And we really hope that you will use this opportunity to get involved now and continuing into the future. The program is designed to enhance and support the Rubin, three of the Rubin science collaborations, which together represent some very broad areas of science. That is the transients and variable stars, stars, Milky Way and local volume, and the solar system science collaborations. If you'd like more information on any of these science collaborations, you will find links to their websites from the workshop websites, and several of the coordinators, the chairs of those groups, are attending this meeting. They will be very happy to chat with you and give you more information. If you would like to find out more, you can also follow the link on the meeting website, which says new to Rubin, and you'll find a lot of information to help you get started if you're new to the Rubin science ecosystem in general. Before we do get started, I wanted to draw your attention to the workshop's code of conduct. Rubin Observatory and the science collaborations place a strong emphasis on maintaining an environment where everyone can thrive and do great science. And all of our attendees and of our workshops and meetings are expected to adhere to the code of conduct. The full details of that are on the website, but it really isn't complicated or restrictive. Put simply, it stresses the importance of respectful interactions at all times to build trust and to allow everyone to contribute fully. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd also like to mention that we are recording the plenary sessions for this workshop in order to share the information with lots of people who had conflicts with this meeting and couldn't attend in person. So if you prefer not to be recorded, please switch off your microphone and camera. But we will not be recording the breakout sessions, so I encourage you to contribute there. So firstly, a quick summary of where to find information. The meeting website is a one-stop shop for all of the information relating to the program as a whole and to this meeting in particular. And you'll find it includes a number of links to other sites where you can find relevant information, specifically that relevant to your particular science area. We have a Slack channel for this program, which I encourage everybody to subscribe to. Please use the Slack channel to post questions rather than the chat feature of the meeting platform, because the Slack channel will be persistent after the meeting and it allows more people to answer your question. And if you're not already a member of the LSST Slack team and can't join that channel directly, please contact Federica Bianco and she'll be able to sort that out for you. And last but not least, of course, I will also post information by email to everybody who registered for the meeting. So one way or another, I hope you'll stay informed. Oops. Okay. Not sure what I pressed there. Okay, so let's get started. Here is the overview of the agenda for today. My goal is to make this very informal, hackathon style meeting, so please don't be shy. Speak up and get involved. First of all, we'll start with the introductions so that we'll know one another, and I'll give an overview of describe the program as a whole. Mario has kindly volunteered to tell us a little bit about some new computing facilities that are going to be available for Science Collaboration members, which you'll be able to use for your science. After that, Federica will lead us in a discussion of some of the proposal concepts that we've outlined. These are mostly ideas to give you a sense of the kind of very wide range of proposals that were possible through this program, basically to get the ideas rolling. And then it's over to you. We will agree on a set of breakout sessions for a topic of interest and we'll take it from there. But before we go any further, are there any questions? I'm going to stop sharing because I can't see any hands up. If not, okay, then we will move over to the participant introductions so that everybody knows one another. And let me share my screen one more time. Okay, so what we'd like to do is make sure we introduce everybody to everyone else and allow so that if people are new to Rubin, and I know a number of people who signed up for this workshop are new to Rubin, so to break the ice and get everybody involved, we'd like to do some introductions. And I think given that we have 27 people, Federica, should we go around the room?
Yeah, if people can keep it to about 15 seconds, that would work.
Sure. So what I'd like to do is, we thought it would be helpful because if people introduce everybody and 60 people ultimately to subscribe to this workshop in the end, we were a little bit afraid that this could take the full hour of discussion and that none of us would remember any of the names afterwards, or at least speaking for myself, I'm terrible at remembering names. So what we thought it would be a really easier thing to do, we build a participants directory. And in order to do that, I'm going to post this link, which is a Google form by which if everybody could kindly fill that Google form in, by the end of the few minutes, we should have a directory of everybody who's attended, what you're interested in and what you might want to consider collaborating on, which will then be a resource for everybody who attends the workshop going forward, in case, like me, you're terrible at remembering names and faces. So I encourage everybody to keep it simple and to the point. This isn't complicated. It can be bullet points if you prefer. And if we can take 5 minutes to fill in that form, and then we can go around the room. Okay, I can see some responses are coming into the form, so this is great. Thank you for contributing to that. I will wait a couple more minutes for everybody to finish typing. So I realize I just sprang that on you. Okay, I think we have a quorum of people who've contributed to our directory. So thank you all very much. I think that will be a great help when people are looking to form collaborations and they can find interested people. So I'd like to go quickly around the room so that we all can put a name to a face and introduce each other. So I shall start with myself, or Rachel Street, as I mentioned already. I'm a co-chair of TVS with Federica Bianco, and I am program lead. So I personally will not be participating in any proposals, but I am very happy to answer questions and help you guys make the most of this opportunity. So I'm going to go through the list of everyone who's contributed to the participants directory and give everybody a chance to introduce yourself in person and say what you're interested in. And I'll go through in order of the people who were fastest off the mark, including completing the form. So Kelly Hamilton, you were the first person and the fastest off the mark. So off you go.
All right. My name is Kelly Hambleton. I'm here at Villanova University. I'm a member of TVS and also the primary contact for pulsating stars. I'm primarily interested in pulsating stars, but for this call for proposals, I'm interested in writing a roadmap for the TVS. It's something that we already started and something that we'll continue to do. And then I'm also open to other ideas as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Excellent. Agata Roshek, and I apologize if I've mispronounced your name.
No, it's okay. My name is Agata Rožek. I'm at the University of Edinburgh, and I'm primarily interested in cometary activity and specifically for LSST in detecting cometary activity in the Vera-Rubin observations. So I'm also, I'm obviously a member of the Solar System Science Collaboration, and I'm an early career representative for that part of the collaboration. So, hello.
Excellent, welcome. Wesley Fraser.
Hi everyone, I'm Wes. I'm from the Solar SSSC, and I'm interested in moving body detection mainly, I think, for the LSST at the moment. And I am also the program manager for the Canadian in-kind contribution thing. Hi.
Thank you. Hi there. Clément Bonneron.
Hi, I'm working at the University of Copenhagen, and I'm mostly interested in transient astronomy and most particularly tidal disruption events. So I'm very new to Robin, and basically I'm here just to try to figure out how I can be of help to the community.
Excellent. Glad to have you with us. Federica Bianco.
Hello, I am the co-chair of the Transient and Variable Star Science Collaboration, TDS, together with Rachel. I'm also the science collaborations coordinator, the coordinator of all 8 science collaborations, and scientifically and primarily interested in extragalactic transients and their time behavior and time evolution. But I'm also very interested for the purpose of this proposal in research inclusion, data representation, and just to hear your ideas and help you out making them come true.
Thanks, Fed. Tansu Dylan.
Hey everyone, Tansu here. So I'm a test postdoctoral associate at MIT, and I have a visiting appointment at Princeton. I mainly work on exoplanets, but in this context, in the LSST context, I've been thinking about detecting slow-moving objects in the frames. And I have ongoing work, and I'd like to basically build on top of that using this call, basically to detect slow-moving objects, comets at long distances, and potentially probe their activity as well.
Excellent, exciting topics. Nino.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nino Cucchiara. I am a College of Marin in Northern California. I'm a member of the TVS, Transit Variable Stars Science Collaboration, and the JEDI team. For this particular call, I'm focusing on, my science primarily is transient, extragalactic transient, cluster burst, gamma ray burst. But for this particular call, my focus is to bridge the gap to communities that are not represented or very loosely represented in Rubin. So allow them to access Rubin data and tools, specifically focusing on minority serving institution colleagues broadly. So from faculty to postdocs to grad students and so on, as well as students at large.
Thanks, Nino. I'm going to step out of the order a little bit and point out that Luis da Costa has messaged me personally to say that you have no audio and camera and therefore can't introduce yourself personally. Nevertheless, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And he introduces himself by saying, I am the program lead for the BPG Brazilian Participation Group. So welcome to you and all your group. Continuing with the order, Mikako Matsura.
Give me just a moment. Let me just put the video on. Hopefully it works. The two, so that's probably.
We saw you briefly. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Okay. Oh, okay. Does it come out because I have 2 cameras, so it's a bit complicated. Sorry.
There you go.
So, hello. Yeah. Hi. My name is Mikako Matsura from Cardiff University. I'm broadly interested in transient and also the structure of local group galaxies. So my focus is more like a dust in supernova and also the structure of the magnetic clouds. I'm new to the LSD, so just my interest is to get to know how the system works. So I'm not quite sure how much I can contribute to this grant application set, but
Thank you, Mikako. You broke up a little bit at the end there. Did you want to repeat your last phrase?
Okay, yeah, I don't know, sorry, how much it has been a go, but yeah, so I'm new to the, I'm new to the LSD. So I'm not quite sure how much I can contribute to the grant application itself, but yes, I would like to know how the thing is going to work in LSD. That's all, thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you're here to learn about LSST, and the science collaborations are the best place to do that. So I encourage you to get involved because you have no doubt a huge amount to contribute. And obviously that will be a fantastic way to learn all about LSST and the science ecosystem in general. Melissa Graham.
Hello, my name is Melissa. I work for Rubin Observatory at the University of Washington, and I'm a TVS member and also a member of DESC. The topics I'm interested in are supernovae, photo-Z, community engagement, student training, and research inclusion. And also, since I'm a member of, work for Rubin Data Management and also the Rubin Community Engagement team, so I'm also here to see how those teams can support your applications and your proposals as well.
Thanks, Melissa. That's much appreciated. Michael Kelly.
Hello, Mike Kelly. I am at the University of Maryland. I am a member of the Solar Systems Science Collaboration and outgoing Active Objects, a working group lead. I am primarily interested in commentary activity and commentary outbursts. What I'm thinking for this is enhancing our science platform in order to analyze LSST data in that respect.
Thank you. Knut Olsen.
Yes, hi. Knut Olsen. I work at NSF's Noir Lab in Tucson, Arizona. I also work in part for Rubin Observatory as an international program coordinator. I am interested in nearby galaxies, and particularly the Magellanic Clouds, and focused on stellar populations and the structure and dynamics of those galaxies. I'm the lead of the Magellanic Clouds subgroup in the STARS Milky Way and Local Volume Collaboration. So happy to meet like-minded people.
Thanks, Knut.
And others.
Samaya Kakbash.
Hi everyone, my name is Samaya Kakbash and I'm a member of the TVS Science Collaboration. I'm a postdoc at University of Delaware. I'm also the coordinator of the microlensing subgroup of the TVS collaboration. And so I'm in this microlensing subgroup, we're mainly interested in optimizing the survey strategy for microlensing and other related science cases. And for this specific call of proposal, I'm interested in pursuing the background research that we need for our work in optimizing the survey strategy.
A very important topic for LSST right now. Thanks, Samaya. Christoph Raab.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christoph Raab. I've been in TVS since June. And with Rubin, I'd like to prepare a multi-messenger search involving neutrinos and transients like tidal disruption events.
Fascinating. Thank you. Hector Velico. Hector, are you there? Okay, but Hector, if you would like to speak, we will carry on. And if you will message me if you prefer not to speak, that's fine, of course. Annabelle Varela, excuse me, Varela. I apologize for mispronouncing your name there.
No, it's okay. Hello, I'm Manuel. I'm from Argentina in the Universidad de Buenos Aires. I'm studying physics in my last year, doing my thesis with Martin Makler. And I'm interested in microlensing and dark matter. That's it.
Excellent. Subjects after my own heart. Thank you. Marcus Rabbit.
Hi, I'm Marcus Rabos. I work at the Catholic University in Concepcion. I'm also a TVS member, and I'm involved in the, I'm task force member, chair for the commissioning task force. And for this call, I'm interested in commissioning the LSST pipeline with some DE-CAM data. Yeah. Especially in crowded fields, maybe. Yeah.
I know it's an area of some very important work. Thanks, Marcus. Yasmin Catriccio, and again, I must apologize for not knowing how to pronounce your name.
No problem at all. Can you hear me?
Indeed, yes.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Cadriteo. I am the STEM Officer Educator here at AUI, Associated Universities Inc. in Washington, D.C. I am super happy to be here and get to know all of you. I have to say that I'm new to all the programs that is being presented here today. So I want to get to know what is this call about and how I can contribute to, how possible can contribute to your programs.
Fantastic, and I hope we'll answer that question in the course of the workshop. Thank you. Krista Gall.
Yeah, hi, I'm Krista Gall. I'm working at the University of Copenhagen. I'm mostly interested in various kinds of transients and also the chemical evolution of in galaxies. I'm the in-kind contribution lead for the Danish, for Denmark. And we're building an independent data access center. And maybe in this connection, I'd be most interested in how to make this most useful for the TVS and also for the desk. Oh yeah, and I'm part of the TVS and the desk.
Excellent, thank you. Will Clarkson.
Trying to remember what I wrote in my form now. Hi everyone, good to see everyone. I'm Will Clarkson. I'm a co-chair of the Stars Milky Way and Local Volume Collaboration, along with John Gizis and Peregrine McGeehee. I have various other roles, including chair of the Observing Strategy Task Force in SMWLV and co-chair of the Galactic Bulge subgroup in SMWLV. My main scientific interest with Rubin is to produce a legacy data set for galactic bulge science that will be used for many years to come. But for this call, I'm most excited about, I think, two aspects. One of them is providing support for the operations of the science collaborations, so to encourage community members to help the science collaboration determine its direction, and also to help researchers at under-resourced institutions connect with and to use Rubin data. So very much research inclusion as well. Thank you.
Excellent, thanks, Will. Sara Bonito.
Thank you. Yeah, I am Sara Bonito. I am a researcher at the university, at the institute, the National Institute for Astrophysics in Italy, at the Observatory of Palermo. My topics of interest are young stars, young stellar objects, star-forming regions, and the variability associated mainly to the accretion and ejection process in young stars. I am a member of Transient Variable Stars and Stars Milky Way Local Volume Science Collaborations. In TVS, I am the coordinator of a group focused on the general eruptive variables. And I'm also the coordinator of the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in TVS, and of a new task force started this year on the Data Preview 0. In fact, I am also I am interested as well on young stars and inclusion in science in general, and also on working on the Rubin Science platform through the Stack Lab involvement and the software development. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. I know you're a huge value in all of your contributions, and they are many. Martin Mackler.
Hello, I'm Martin Mackler from the San Martin University in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I'm part of an Argentinian group that has just joined LSST and in TVS in particular. We are mostly interested in microlensing. We are newcomers both to LSST and to microlensing, so we are keen to get involved. With this grant, we want to get involved with LSST. Here, the main problem in Argentina is funding, especially for travel, for collaborations, for meetings. So we hope this can help us to get involved. In particular, we are interested in contributing to microlensing related activities, such as making simulations, dealing with crowded fields, and other. Well, we are very welcome with new ideas. And also I'm interested in getting involved with outreach and with justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So.
Excellent. It sounds like a number of our working groups and task forces will be of great interest to you.
Yes.
Carlos Arguelles.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you. I'm Carlos Arguelles from La Plata National University, Argentina, and also collaboration with ICRANET Italy Institute. And yes, I am also a member of the microLensing group of Argentina with interest in LSST, as Martin Mackler recently mentioned. And yeah, among the main interest is the microlensing by dark matter candidates, including, for example, primordial black holes or other more exotic candidates as boson stars or fermion dark matter. And well, we are keen to be if we can be of help in collaborating with in LSST. Thank you.
Excellent, I'm sure you will. And Marcus Hintermark.
Hello, my name is Marcus Hintermark. I work for the University of Heidelberg and I'm the program manager of our in-kind contribution. I'm part of the TVS collaboration and also mostly interested in galactic gravitational microlensing, more on the exoplanet side, but the more the merrier. So I'm mostly interested here within the scope of that project in research, inclusion, and ways of offering institutions which don't have access to training how to write proposals and to ways of leveling the playing field, and also to submit some unusual ideas.
Thank you, Marcus. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves and for contributing to the directory. Hopefully that has helped to break the ice, and certainly it sounds like there's a lot of really interesting synergies between everybody. So the next item on the agenda, that is to give an overview of the whole program. Those who have, this will be particularly of interest if you have not attended the previous introductory session that we gave at the very start of this program, but it will also include some new insights, I hope, into the program for those of you who have been involved, but it will be a good overview as a whole. So if I just share my, no, wrong order. 1 second, I need to share my screen before I can do that. Okay, and hopefully now you can see my screen. Okay, I'm seeing nods, thank you. Okay, so to give you an overview of the Preparing for Astrophysics with LSST program and the Kickstarter grants in particular. And in the process, I hope to address some of the questions that have come up already, but I do always encourage more questions. So feel free to ask any questions via the Slack channel, and I'll leave time to discuss them at the end, of course. Before I go any further, I'd like to give all credit to the co-chairs of the 3 science collaborations who are participating in this program, as I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with them all. It also gives me the chance to clarify the acronyms for those of you who are new to the science collaborations. You will, if you hear these initials, now you know what we're referring to. TBS is the Transients and Variable Stars Science Collaborations. SMWLV stands for Stars, Milky Way and Local Volume, and SSSC is the Solar System Science Collaboration Group. And these represent 3 of the 8 of the Rubin Science Collaborations. As I mentioned at the beginning, the program is supported by the Heising-Simons Foundation, and this reflects their specific focus on time-domain astrophysics, the Milky Way and solar system science, as well as their strong interest in diversity and equity in science. So the objectives of the program is really to focus on research excellence for Rubin and enabling the science collaborations to perform the kind of preparatory work in time for the start of survey operations in the next couple of years. The program is unusual in that it places equal weight on fostering an equitable and inclusive research environment and overcoming barriers to entry to that research, as well as the science excellence. So it's designed to support people in the science collaborations and the organizations, as well as the research. Let's keep moving on. There we go. So the whole program is designed to last for just 1 year, so the timescale is relatively quick, but there are 4 elements to it, so I'll say a little bit about each of them. The first element is designed to support cover the costs associated with publishing our research. It specifically supports the planned publication of ongoing research into the Rubin survey strategy, which is being done by all members of the science collaborations, as well as the science roadmaps that Kelly mentioned earlier that are currently being written by both TDS and STARS Milky Way groups. This element also provides funding to enable members to publish topical science papers in other areas that are related to LSST research. Excuse me, mixing up my acronyms there. Sorry, I'm skipping slides slightly. There we go. Okay. The second element is focused on supporting science collaborations, meetings, and workshops. Now, of course, in the light of the ongoing travel uncertainty worldwide with the pandemic, we've assumed that these are going to be virtual only meetings for the time being, which also allows many more people to attend. But even those aren't cost-free. So this program allows us to support the meeting platforms that we're using for this. The program will also provide all members with access to software services and training. Now, initially, we had planned to provide all members with access to a Jupyter Hub service and cloud-based computing for their research. However, in a new development, I am pleased to say that there's a second program called LINCC, which was recently announced, which makes it possible to provide more extensive services to a wider community. So Mario Juric from the University of Washington will explain more about this in a short while. So what we're doing is coordinating between these two programs, and we plan to complement the computing facilities provided by the LINCC program and provide our members with access to training and advanced training in software engineering skills and tools that will be advantageous to you in Rubin research. And more information about this program is going to be shared through the science collaborations in the near future. So I encourage you to look out for that. Okay, I don't know why, but my computer is skipping. There we go, okay. So the lion's share of the program is dedicated to running the Kickstarter grants, for which all members of TVS, STARS Milky Way, and Solar System science collaborations are eligible to apply for. Specifically, the goals of the program element are to enable science collaboration members to dedicate time to LSST preparations and to ensure that everybody has an equitable opportunity to contribute to those efforts. The program recognizes two different types of proposal. The first type is an individual or team proposal, and we're expecting to allocate about 30 of these grants, each of which can request up to $20,000 in US dollars. The second category of proposal is partnership proposals, which will be between 2 or more groups or institutions. And these proposals have a higher cap at $30,000 US dollars. And I'll say more about those shortly. In both cases, the duration of the grant will be approximately 10 months. So please be aware, and that's to fit in with the 1 year duration of the program itself. And please be aware that there is a cap on the indirect costs or the institutional overheads that can be included. That's a rule from the foundation itself, which we cannot waive, I'm afraid. We want to allocate these grants to enable a very wide range of science by our members, and they will be allocated by a peer review process. Owing to the focus of the program as a whole, I wanted to point out that the principal investigator on any proposal type needs to be a member of one of the 3 participating science collaborations. However, I want to stress that members of other science collaborations are welcome to collaborate on proposals where your science interests overlap, as are non-members, and we encourage that. Any member from around the world is welcome to apply, and the only limitation we really have is that we need to be able to legally send you funds from the United States. So the program is designed to be unusually flexible in the kinds of proposal that we can support. and we envisage a range of proposals from our members. Since this will be rather different from more traditional opportunities, we're planning to go through a few examples of the sort of thing that you can consider a little later in the session. For now, I'd like to emphasize that the goal here is to enable excellence in science by our members and to encourage you to contribute to the science community as a whole. So proposals for all topics of Rubin-related science from our members are encouraged. But there are a couple of other factors in this program that this program will take into consideration when awarding the grants that I wanted to highlight. Firstly, the program places great value on the contributions that benefit the wider science community. Science collaboration members have already done a huge amount of work that is essential to the success of both the Rubin Observatory and the LSSTC survey, but which is also highly beneficial to everyone else in the wider community. But so far, this work has been done almost entirely on a voluntary basis. And of course, it takes time, and sometimes that comes at the expense of a person's research time. So to recognize these valuable contributions and to avoid any negative career impacts for people who make them, you'll find that the proposal form includes space for a personal statement. Now, this is optional, but one of the ways we encourage you to use it is to highlight the contributions that you've made to the science collaboration or that your proposal will make through that proposal. We're also conscious of allocating the resources in an impactful way. Kickstarter grants can be very impactful, particularly at smaller institutions and those who have no prior connection to the Rubin project. And they can be a great way for newcomers to overcome barriers to entry, and that's really what we're hoping to achieve here. Overcoming barriers to participation in Rubin research is the major theme of the whole program, but we recognize that this can take many forms. We know that many of our members would like to dedicate more time to LSST preparations, but just haven't been able to on a purely volunteer basis. And of course, over the past year, with the pandemic, everybody has faced a whole new range of challenges. So I want to encourage you to really think about those things that prevent you getting more involved with LSST and consider how a proposal might help you overcome those barriers. It might be, for example, hiring an intern or paying summer salary, or perhaps it could be covering childcare to enable you to dedicate more time to your science in general. This program is much more flexible than your typical grants program. So I encourage you to use the personal statement and the statement of impacts to tell us how it can really benefit you and the rest of the community. Of course, there are communities which face deeper and systemic barriers to participation in science and society in general that extend way beyond Rubin alone. Overcoming these barriers is likely to take time and sustained effort. So laying the groundwork for such efforts is another major motivation behind the second category of partnership proposals. This category is designed to incentivize the development of more sustainable long-term partnerships between groups and institutions that are dedicated to overcoming barriers to entry to Rubin research and astronomy in general, particularly for those communities that have been traditionally withheld from the subject. Partnership proposals will be able to apply for grants with a higher budget limit, with funds being distributed equitably between the participating groups. We envisage that the proposals in this category will involve partnerships that exist at the time that the proposal is being submitted. That is, we expect representatives from at least 2 partners should be identified by the proposal submit deadline. But I wanted to stress that it's okay if the partnership you plan to develop is at an early stage. In fact, we expect that some of the most productive proposals will seek to lay groundwork for a longer term collaboration and spend the 10 months duration of this particular program identifying barriers to entry and developing the means to overcome them. And one of the goals of this workshop is to help such partnerships form. We have a team of representatives to help us make sure that all elements of the program are as inclusive as possible. We call them the Jedi, and this seems like an appropriate acronym. Naturally, this includes representatives from all of the 3 science collaborations to make sure that all of the different science needs are met. And they're contributing in a number of ways. They've helped us to advertise the program. They reviewed the call for proposals to make sure we follow best practices to encourage participation. And they're helping us to recruit the resource allocation committee that will actually review the proposals that are submitted. So the timeline for the whole program is necessarily quite fast since the overall program duration is limited to 1 year, but you're joining us at the perfect time. The call for Kickstarter proposals was just released at the end of August, and proposals will be due by September the 30th, with actual awards being made in November. So the full call for proposals, please visit the program website, which you can see on your screen, where you'll find all detailed information about how to apply. And I want to encourage everybody to keep an eye on this website because the program as a whole is developing rapidly, and I am posting more information almost on a daily basis. So keep an eye on that. And if you are considering an application to the grants program, I strongly encourage you to reach out to your institution's grant office or your director and talk it over with them sooner rather than later. Some institutions have rules about grant applications and in particular may have limits on the overheads that may be included. And so just a reminder that the foundation places a strict limit on the overhead that can be included in the grant, and that's 15%. And I'm afraid we cannot change that. So I recommend that you start the conversation with your institution early and reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm happy to help as much as I can. And so to wrap up, let me say, don't forget to keep in touch. We will be circulating more information about this and all of the other elements of the program through the science collaborations. So I encourage you to get in touch with them and get involved. And I want to say thank you for your attention. And I will turn it over now for a Q&A. So does anybody have any questions? Okay,
Rachel, there was earlier.
Oh, sorry, Fed?
No, there was a question earlier in the chat about when should the program start. I answered it, but perhaps it's worth answering it live. Sorry, Christoph, I had not seen your hand.
That's a very good question. And you can start, I would say you can start from November. Anytime from November to the end of the actual program next year, because we have a very simple bureaucracy for this grant program. We plan to get the money to successful applicants as soon as possible. And we expect that to happen in early November. So if you put a starting date of early November, we will make it happen for you as soon as possible. Okay, Christoph.
Yeah. On the website, there's a list of possible subjects. You already mentioned it for the Kickstarter grants. One of them is a visiting scientist program, saying they'll still have to decide whether they will allow this, because obviously it should be something that is available to everyone. When will that be decided? So when will we know if it makes sense to apply for that?
Yeah, this is a tricky question because, of course, we want to make sure the opportunities are available to everybody around the world, but the rest of the world doesn't have uniform access to the vaccine. Travel is still being disrupted. Everywhere has different policies. I think it's safe to say that and Fed can jump in here if you disagree. I think it makes sense if you wish to apply for a visiting science proposal, for example, go ahead and apply. It would be worth explaining in the proposal why you think this is going to be safe to do, and maybe include a contingency plan in the event that there is another outbreak in your region, how you would manage that. And I think that would be a perfectly fair way to present that proposal. I do appreciate it can be incredibly valuable to have somebody visit even just for a week and work in person. And at the moment, we are all struggling to keep up with the rapidly changing environment. So yeah, I would say go ahead and propose and have some contingency plans in place. Okay, any other questions?
Yasmin had a question in the chat. Yasmin,
go ahead.
I can ask it on your behalf.
Hey, yes, thank you. I'm here. So I don't know if I missed it, but does teacher training is one of the programs that we can run under this call as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And you might want to also consider the EPO program. The Rubin itself has a large education and public outreach program. So if teacher training is something that you're interested in, I encourage you to take a look at the Rubin project resources that I've linked from the meeting website, because they have some very interesting plans that may well be of interest to you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Are there any other questions in the chat that I may have missed? Okay.
That is clear.
Excellent. Okay. So moving on to our next agenda item, I wanted to give a few minutes to introduce Mario Juric of the University of Washington. Hello, Mario. Glad you could join us. Mario is leading the LINCC computing program that I mentioned briefly earlier, and he has kindly agreed to tell us a little more about it.
Thanks, Rachel. Yes, this is going to be just a very brief intro to some resources that we'll be making available for preparatory LSST science work. Let me just share my screen. Okay, here we go. All right, I hope you can see a quick PowerPoint slide, or one PowerPoint slide. All right, excellent. So what I wanted to tell you about is about a Jupyter Hub that we are putting together and making available for preparatory science with LSST. And before I go into all of this, you'll see a link here on top. Please do not try to log in yet. You need credentials. You need to sign up, and this is the primary reason of this intro to get you to go and fill out the sign up form. So this will start working for you on Friday or so. So to explain what's in there, this is a curated science platform for science collaboration work. It started as a platform for solar system collaboration sprints. And we've been using it in the solar system science collaboration for the last year and a half or so. And now we're expanding it to TVS and Milky Way with the goal of helping you do the science both for this program and for LSST preparatory science in general. So what we have there is a standard Jupyter interface. Once you're able to log in, and I'll tell you how to request the logins in just a second. You'll be able to simply log in, get to this section. What's running on this Jupyter Hub, or this Jupyter Hub is running on AWS. One of the nice things we have here is a choice of different nodes. So depending on what you're doing, you can work on the default machines with 2 CPUs and 8 gigs of RAM, which is sort of similar to the average assignments, I think, on Rubin. But there are also higher memory machines, GPUs, and we can add more if needed. Right now, there's about 1 terabyte of shared space. If you need to collaborate with colleagues in the collaboration, share data, it's possible to set up for different groups to see their shared data. We have installed the LSST DM stack and the simulation software stack. We'll keep it maintained with most recent versions. There is science collaboration specific data. Here I'm showing the LSST solar system simulations, but the idea is to add more, especially as TVS and Milky Way get more engaged. This is an example of just all solar system simulated solar system objects in LSST, a demo notebook we put together for one of the SST sprints. This is also an example of how one can use it. So these were up on top were a couple of queries ran against a simulated database, and then an actual attempt to fit a light curve of an object. You'll notice that the interface is just classic Jupyter. If you prefer Jupyter Lab, that works as well. So here's Jupyter Lab. And then one nice thing we have is we also have a virtual desktop environment for kind of more legacy applications. So if you hit that desktop button, what you're going to get is a full-blown Ubuntu desktop running in the browser. So one of the things that one can do there is if you have a large FITS file to look into and you don't want to download potentially many megabytes just to see what's in the file, you can fire up DS9 and take a look. Equally, if there are other tools that are useful, we can add those into the default desktop, and you can use them as well. So between these three, this is intended to be a shared environment for LSST preparatory science use. Coming soon. This is just a very quick demo of what's in there, but soon we'll have a dedicated, maybe an hour and a half long demo session in October. Many more tutorials on how to use it. We'll be adding precursor data sets to this. So ZTF, PS1, SDSS, Gaia, the list is there because we've already imported them. Just we need to move them to the right place with a parallel workflow engine to work on top if you want to try those things out. So why am I talking about this here? If it's useful, now, what is this for? It's for any LSST preparatory science that you need it for. Developing cadence metric, accessing simulations, shared data sets, preparing grant applications, etc., as well as Kickstarter grant research. And the nice thing about this is because we're running it on AWS, we're able to scale almost as needed, depending on the needs of the collaboration and the needs of you. How you get to this, access is controlled through GitHub, so you must be a member at least one of these three organizations to successfully log in. And if you're not in one of these GitHub organizations, please fill out this form, go to ls.st/030. So this is the most important link in this presentation, and I'll paste it into the Slack channel as well. ls.st/030. And in about a day or two, we'll add you, and by Friday, we'll have this running for everyone. You'll get an email after you fill this out, you'll get an email with what to do next. And then this should, again, start working in about a day or two after we collect the forms from some number of people and then add them to the system. And one of the things we have with this is we'll try to provide support. We have three of our students in our group, Aditi, Aiden, and Paolo will be monitoring your questions and requests on Slack and try to be there, try to respond to each and every one of them within hours or within 24 hours at most. Please use the HSF LSST site prep on the LSST Slack as a place to ask questions. We might, if there's too much traffic on that, we may spin it off to a different channel. But let's start here for now, and then a dedicated tutorial and demo session will happen in October. So this is a quick summary. Bottom line, it's a Jupyter hub for preparatory science with some significant resources in AWS. And please do take a moment to sign up on ls.st/030. Initial approvals will take about a day or two, and then expect to be able to log in on Friday. And we're looking forward to develop this based on user feedback and to make this as useful to you as possible. So please, once you're on the system, let us know about everything that works, everything that doesn't, and let me revert that. Everything that doesn't work is probably the more important bit, and we'll try to fix it as soon as possible and make sure to have this, to make this as useful to you as we can. All right. let me stop here as I promise to try to be short. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Mario. Much appreciated. And I can see a couple of questions in the Slack channel already. First up is Knut. Knut, excuse me.
Yeah, so on the screen selecting the type of machine, I noticed there was a cost per hour. So is that billed to the user, or is that supported by a grant?
It's supported by a grant, so the user will not pay for any of it. Thanks for bringing that up. It's just a kind of friendly reminder that these things do cost some. So if you don't need a GPU node, don't grab one, because it can be quite significant if accumulated over months and many people. But that's a good point. We'll add a note saying that this is not a cost to you. This is just to give you a feel for what these things cost in the back end.
Yeah, great. And maybe a follow-up. And if you did have a project that was going to use a significant amount of computing resources on your platform, is that something that you would encourage a grant proposal, a Kickstarter grant proposal to fund?
I think we have to see. Right now we're allocated about $10,000 to support the work through into credits through basically the end of this year, and we can probably double or triple that in the next year. We honestly don't know what the demand is going to be, because we don't have that much experience with these larger collaborations. I know on the solar system side, we didn't have that much large scale computing demand, but if there is, I think yes, if there's maybe there's $20,000 worth of work on a single proposal or on a single project, that may be a thing to ask for, but we'll try to. I think in that case, it may be good also to look at national resources like Exceed and others that can give you those kind of resources.
Thanks.
Thanks, Knut. Those are great questions. Marcus had a question about the science pipeline. Marcus Rabus, that is.
Yes, hi, this is Marcus. I have a question. Can you run the LINCC science pipeline, the one which reduces the images, and can you upload images, for example, from DCAM? Because that was my interest in LST.
Yes, on both. So the science pipelines are installed, and for uploading, there's a Jupyter upload interface. I think with DCAM, it might be actually easier to download them into the hub with something like wget or curl. But one of the things we're working on is actually simplified, just drag and drop upload interface through basically as a copy within your something like Dropbox-like functionality with your desktop. But that may take a couple of months to get there.
Thanks.
Thank you. I noticed a question from Tomislav, which is talking about the administrative cost for travel. Tomislav, did you want to voice that?
Yeah, hello. It was more concerning the last topic that you introduced regarding the administrative costs for the COVID testing. If we do some visiting other institutions in other countries. Also, there was an additional request about the costs of visa applications. So maybe you can tackle both of these issues.
Yes, those are really great questions. So thank you both Tomislav and Martin for bringing them up. Administrative costs for travel. What sort of administrative costs are we talking here? Is this sort of the booking of the travel and that sort of thing?
No. I mean the costs for the COVID tests if you travel abroad.
Oh, right, of course.
And these kind of things, and for the visa applications also.
Yeah, I would say yes. I think it's a sign of the times that we live in that COVID tests are necessary for travel, and so are visas for that matter. So yes, I would consider those travel costs, and yes, you can include them.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Let me check the list for hands raised. I see Mario is typing.
Oh, sorry, I'm not having a question.
Okay, no, great, okay. Okay, so it's time to move on to the next section of this workshop. And at this point, I will hand over to Federica, who's going to talk us through some of the concept ideas for proposals, just to get the creative ideas going. So Fed.
Indeed, hello everybody. Let me share my screen and share in presentation mode, at which point I will no longer see the chat or any of you. So if there are any issues, please
I'll
holler.
keep an eye on it.
Thank you. So I want to emphasize, these are just examples because we found that it would be likely easier, excuse me, to clarify what we mean by the kind of programs that can be allowed if you give you some examples, but by all means, this is not intended as an exhaustive list of the things that you can propose. If your idea does not fit in any of the buckets that we have prepared for these examples, please don't interpret that as the fact that this idea would not be a good fit. And as we said, if you have any questions about what you can propose or how you can propose it, or you need any help in proposing it, please reach out to Rachel, to myself, to your science collaboration chairs. So I'm going to go through a few examples that belong to any of the categories that we have envisioned and briefly Rachel has mentioned earlier, and give like a quick preview of what the proposal might look like, what the PI and the proposing team might want to emphasize in submitting a grant that looks like that. I'm going to start with the most sort of unusual ones, perhaps, with our institutional research partnership grants. So these Kickstarter partnership grants are different from the other ones. They have a slightly larger budget. They can reach $30,000, whereas the cap for the other grants is $20,000. They're designed to join two institutions, of which one has an already established LSST research program, whether that's because they have faculty or other personnel that is involved in research and in the science collaboration, or because they have funded research program for Rubin and LSST, whereas the other institution doesn't. And particularly, we encourage partnership where the second institution, the one that wants to develop the research program, serves underserved and underserved population and underrepresented community in astronomy, but not only. So we're thinking community serving institutes more generally, or community colleges, etc. One of the partners needs to have an established research program, and this partner will be the one that would be PI in the institution from within the science collaboration. So the PI would have to be inside of the science collaboration. The partner's institution PI does not have to be inside of the science collaboration, and funds, for example, could be requested to enable a student or a postdoc and their mentor at the second institute to contribute research to one of the partnering science collaboration, and also maybe include some funds at the first institution to help co-mentoring. But that is not the only thing that could be developed. For example, a program of workshop and seminars that would allow the second institution to build capacity for doing Rubin work would also be falling under this category and welcome to this in this grant proposal. Slightly more traditional, one may envision student training programs. For example, here, a faculty maybe at a small institution, one of the ones that we particularly want to support, who has undergraduate teaching responsibility, could fund students to participate in training, for example, online data science training courses that enable them to be prepared and ready for doing Rubin research. The advantages are to the students who gain the opportunity to learn astronomical analysis tasks. It also helps the researchers, both the students and the mentors, by training the trainer, model, climbing the learning curve for the new analysis environment that Rubin will require. And it generally helps the community gaining experience in working on Rubin data. Particularly, it would be interesting, for example, to work on the Rubin research platform if the involved PIs are already DP0 representatives and have access to it. Moving on, enabling research under unusual circumstances. This is something that the latitude that the Hudson Salmon Foundation has given us in awarding this grant allows us to do, which is really unusual, and which we're hoping will be really helpful to people, particularly under the circumstances of COVID. We envision, for example, that API from inside the science collaboration, somebody who has a track of having devoted time and effort to the science collaboration on a volunteering basis, had a particularly hard time doing so at this time during COVID, perhaps because they're a parent of a young child and the lack of availability of school and childcare has limited their time further compared to normal circumstances. And this PI could request grants to support childcare that would then allow them to have more time to dedicate to the science collaboration activities and research activities relating to Rubin. Slightly more traditional, we imagine PIs from inside the science collaboration. We just want to apply for support if they are soft money researchers who must fund their work. We expect that the people that would do that would be involved in the science collaboration, because again, these are grants that are designed to support the science collaboration, and that the work that they would do with this, whatever it is, the amount of money that they're asking as summer salary or regular year salary, would enable them to do science collaboration activities and Rubin related research. Summer salary, as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned somebody who will be in a soft money position, but of course, people that are in traditional 9 months salary positions that need to fund their summer salary, the same could apply for them. And again, if you write this kind of proposal, please emphasize what your role in the science collaboration is or aspires to be, and what specific work and research or capacity building within the science collaboration or goals of the science collaboration, the time that this grant would support will go and pay for. So here we're envisioning simply that a PI could cover 2 months of their summer salary to work on science collaboration related activities during the summer. Of course, keep in mind the timing of the grant. We do have a reporting deadline of August 31st because the grant was awarded to us on a tight 1-year timeline. So please keep in mind that the work would have to be front loaded in your summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere to be able to meet the August 31st deadline for reporting. We also hope that some of the grants will be more specifically supporting groups and teams and task forces within the science collaboration rather than just individual PIs, but also, of course, through the work of the PI. So, for example, in this case, we envision a PI who had an unfunded elected leadership role in the science collaboration, the leadership of a task force, of a subgroup, whatever the structure of the science collaboration is, would want to have more time to be dedicated to research and infrastructure building goals that are specifically to that task force and that specifically benefit the science collaboration. But right now they cannot do that because of other commitments. And we envision that they could ask for funds that would cover their time, their time, so that they would have more time to dedicate it to these activities. Science collaboration supported training is also an excellent idea. We thought, for example, keeping in mind the overall focus on research inclusion and bridging the gap and equity in general of both the foundation and the science collaboration and the Rubin environment all together. We envision, for example, that a task force such as the JEDI group, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion group within TVS, could apply for funds to support bystander intervention training or anti-racism training, and this would be a very strong application for our program that would likely not be likely not require the whole 20,000 maximum allowed. So small grants like these are also super welcome. If you do submit this grant, we encourage you to actually expect, which kind of organization you would work with, and what their cost would be early on, because the cost of these programs can vary quite dramatically from an organization to the other one. So please make sure that you have looked into what it would actually take to support this kind of activities. Science collaboration may also need equipment, software, and services. As we have heard, the computational resources should be available to us through the partnership with the LINCC program. And we are hoping that that will cover most, if not all, of the computational requirement for science collaboration members that engage in the research that is supported by this grant. Nonetheless, there might be software or specific equipment that might be needed for a specific goal, a specific project, that is aligned with the needs of a task force or of a group inside of a science collaboration. Those are welcome grants. Again, if you expect these grants, we have a very short timeline for the realization of the grants. The reporting is due on August 31st. So make sure you start early looking at what is the actual cost of what you're asking for and whether or not you can secure what is needed in a short timeline to begin the project timely. I left this for last, since there were specific questions about this, visiting science programs. We do envision that that would be potentially a good idea and potentially of interest to some of the PIs. So here we're thinking a science collaboration member or a science collaboration may want to enable work of their members to work closely with members of the science collaboration at a specific location, or with Rubin members at a specific location, and that might require travel. Of course, we're doing this under very unusual circumstances of travel limitation and very rapidly evolving travel limitations at that. Therefore, if you intend to apply for a visiting scientist program, for sure you are absolutely welcome to do so. As for all the other programs, highlight the benefit that specifically come to the science collaborations, both in terms of what research and infrastructure development this enables, or in terms of research inclusion, how does this enable new people to get involved in the science collaboration and in Rubin altogether, but also highlight why you think traveling in person would be a good idea for this, why you think it's safe, and what would be a contingency plan if travel becomes impossible. The slides are available to you, so I didn't read them word by word. I just tried to give you a taste for what we were envisioning, but again, this is not a comprehensive list. These are just some ideas that we thought might come up. If your idea is not similar to any of this, it doesn't mean that it's not something that we would want to support. So please reach out and ask us. And I think that was the last one. Am I right, Rachel? Yes, that was the last one. So with that, I'm done.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Fed. I wanted to point out that I think all of those ideas are also on the website, so you can review them offline. And I will also be posting the slides from the workshop once we finish up. So you will have all of this to refer to when you're writing your proposals. To get the ball rolling, I want to address a question that Agatha has brought up in the Slack channel, which is excellent. So Agatha, do you want to give voice to that question?
Sorry, I'm being accompanied here.
Oh, hello.
Which is, oh, hello, thank you. Which is part of the reason why I asked this question in the first place.
It's a very good question.
So my question is, what would count as childcare cost? Because I had that a bit of that comes from a bit of an unpleasant experience before, where I applied for institutional support for childcare costs, and I was told that the costs that were officially provided by the conference organizer, it was to cover childcare costs for duration of the conference, that the costs to take the child along for the conference were too high to be covered from those institutional things. So the only viable economical option for me was then to take my husband along to the conference to basically serve as the childcare. And that can be problematic because you can't really present a bill for services from your family member.
Right.
And this is often more economical option than, you know, trying to find ad hoc childcare, especially nowadays, where, you know, with all the COVID safety restrictions and things like that. So that's why I wanted to ask that question.
And I think it raises a very good point, and I know many of our members are parents, so this is of interest to a lot of people. And I completely agree that sometimes it can be the most economical option and the one that you as a parent feel most comfortable with. So I would say, yes, that's a great example. For example, if you had a family member traveling with you to a meeting to allow you to attend that meeting, then that's a great use of the funds. So yeah, their travel expenses might be something that you could request funds for. So I don't see a problem with that.
I would say that, you know, again, it's the Hayes and Simon Foundation has given us great flexibility in what we want to award. So as long as you convince the reviewing panel that this does enable science and a return to the science collaboration. So I think anything, literally anything that enables that goes under the special enabling science under special circumstances.
Thank you for raising the point. Martin, you had a great question as well regarding computing hardware.
Right, yes. The question is whether computing hardware could be included in this grant. I think, for example, of laptops for students, which could be very hard to get, at least down here, or even, you know, local machines that would be used for the SST.
Yes, is the simple answer. Certainly you can include hardware. Given the parallels that we now have with the LINCC program that Mario mentioned as well, it would be good in the proposal to recognize that those additional resources are becoming available to you. And you would need to explain what the additional computing hardware would be used for and how this would benefit your program over and above the online resources that are available. But I would absolutely consider them eligible and a very good use of the funds. Things like GPUs, for example, yeah, I can well understand why those would be particularly necessary and probably not included on the available resources. So yeah, go ahead.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions coming up? I'm not seeing, oh, I see a hand up. Who's got their hand up? Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question on the possibility to apply for different topics, different requests as a PI. It is the best choice to be a PI of a proposal and then to ask different topics covering different opportunities of improving work for task forces or other important issue in the science collaborations and also in inclusion and in science, or to it is possible also or preferable to be to separate in different proposals.
That's a great question, and I guess it would depend on how closely related the different elements of your proposals were. You have 2 pages to explain and justify everything you're trying to do, which might be a challenge if there's quite a lot of different topics that you're interested in. So in those circumstances, you might want to consider separate proposals. But if the elements are closely interrelated, then I would say try and merge them if you can explain them within 2 pages. And I know that's always a challenge.
And it's worth noting we did not set a limit to the number of proposals per PI.
Exactly. Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, so the last section of today's session was dedicated to some breakout sessions where we can organize various sessions for different topics in different areas of the GatherTown meeting space. And what I'd like to do is to spend, let's say, 15 minutes talking about different topics. And we had a list of ideas for topics that we could discuss. And if I just share my screen, if I have the program up, yep, let me share this screen. So we had, just to give you some ideas, we had breakout room topics of the JEDI or partnership proposals. We could have a breakout room for survey strategy or commissioning activities. Of course, you're welcome to form a breakout to discuss specific areas of scientific interest or software planning or training and development. But those are really just some ideas to get you started. So does anyone have any other ideas for breakout sessions they'd like to propose? Feel free to jump in or shout out.
Rach, could you maybe put that list back up again?
Oh, sure. There we go.
And are those the topics that, unless somebody suggests something else, we are about to break out into those rooms?
That's what I was going to suggest, but the GatherTown platform allows us to be pretty flexible. So what I was going to suggest is we go back into GatherTown, and then people can form more natural groups in various different regions of the meeting space to discuss specific topics, or if you want to get started discussing the specific proposals, you're welcome to do that as well. I plan to go back into the space myself and hang about somewhere in the middle with a view to, if people have questions they want to approach me privately, maybe they're specific to their institution, then you're welcome to do that as well. And then I suggest what we do is we come back at 11:55 to the plenary session, and we will just wrap up and plan for tomorrow. Fed, I see your hand up.
Yes, so just a word on GatherTown. You're essentially in what is designed to look like a physical space with a map on the floor, and the map is identified by location. The locations are identified by science collaboration. So if you have a spontaneous breakout room that opens up on a specific topic, and you think that it might be of interest to other people, and you want to advertise it, just put on the chat which area you're in. For example, are you in the transcendental variable star science collaboration or in the solar system science collaboration area? You'll see that on the floor underneath your avatar, and tell everybody what the topic is, and people that might be interested can join you.
Thanks, Fed.
And Fed, just for you pedantic, sorry, Rach, Fed, just for you pedantic, that's the GatherTown chat you're referring to, not the Zoom chat or the Slack chat.
Yes, we're moving back to GatherTown.
Okay, so the GatherTown chat is the one people will see. Okay.
The GatherTown chat. Yes, that's what I said. That's what I meant. Yes.
Thank you both. Yes, and hopefully this will allow everybody to explore the space and meet up with some new people and break the ice. And as a reminder, if we can all come back to the plenary session at 10:55, that is to say in about 10 minutes, and we will wrap up and decide where we go for tomorrow's session. Okay, I will see you in GatherTown. So I just wanted to wrap up with outlining the plan for tomorrow. I'm not sure who will be able to join tomorrow's session. I suspect that some people will not be able to make both days and may turn up for tomorrow who haven't been able to join us today. So for that reason, when I will log on at the same time tomorrow, and if we have a group of people who have not been been able to join us today, we will spend some time recapping the key points of the information that we shared earlier today. But we want to spend most of tomorrow in breakout sessions to enable people to get started on writing their proposals, get started on building their teams, networking with other people, getting to know everybody. And I will be there the whole time. And I know some of the other chairs will also be there to answer questions if anything has come up. One thing that has come up that I just wanted to answer, because I have just had a response from our administrative team to be able to answer this, is that we're aware that some universities allow, instead of, they have two different categories of incoming contribution. One is to allow grants program to receive, their researchers can receive money in the form of grants, but they also recognize that researchers can receive money in the form of a gift to the university or their institution. And sometimes universities have different rules regarding incoming grants versus incoming gifts. From our administrators, I've been told that we have the flexibility that if it lowers your overheads, or it is less bureaucratic for you to receive the money in the form of a gift rather than a grant, then we can technically do that. Please, if you're in that situation, please reach out to me and we will talk about it and arrange with your bureaucracy and your university as needed. So I just wanted to share that information from the administrative side of this program. So thanks all very much, and please get in touch with me if you have an idea for a breakout session that you would like to advertise at the start of tomorrow's session. We will kick off tomorrow at the same time as 9 AM in my time zone. What is that, noon for Eastern, and I believe 6 PM on CEST, is that correct? And I hope to see everybody there. Thanks everybody who contributed. This was super great. It was great to see you all. And I hope to see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Rach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.